Hey, how you doing? I'm Ben Pinocchio, and today I want to tell you how to make my great-grandma's gravy and meatballs. When I mean gravy, I don't mean your cream gravy, I mean your meat gravy. You got your neck bones in there, your Italian sausage, your meatballs, it cooks around the stove for, 8, 10 hours, whatever. That's what I'm talking about. I always look forward to it every time I hear somebody's going to be making it. And I mean, it's very simple to make, and through its procedures, I hope I can show you how to do it. So let's start with the thing that's going to take the longest, which will be the gravy. You go to a southern kitchen, you see that great grandma cooking with that cast iron skillet. The equivalent for the pot that these Italian grandmas use for Sunday gravy is the same exact thing. They take their onions and their garlic and start off, and we'll sweat that down. You gotta watch the garlic though. The garlic will burn, and when Italians we love our garlic. So if you burn that garlic right off the bat, it really starts and ends with a bad product. Maybe you want to throw your onions in a little bit before, sweat them down, throw your garlic, so it all cooks at the same time. You know, Notice that with the garlic, I've read in that it does lower your blood pressure if people that already have high blood pressure to begin with, as well as it slows down the process of arteriosclerosis, which is, I mean, a good thing. It doesn't stop it, but it definitely slows it down. At that point, you want to take, after it's all translucent, you want to take about 32-ounce thing of ground tomatoes and dump that in. You want to take 2 small cans about of tomato paste, and you want to throw that in there. Clean that out. It's going to be very thick. When it starts simmering and it's going to reduce a little bit, it doesn't want to be too thick. So you take about those 2 cans of water, clean them out. 2 cans of tomato paste, I'm sorry, with water, clean them out. Those in there, thin it out a little bit, so when it reduces, it'll be really, really nice. You want to take about a tablespoon, maybe a little less, of sugar. There's a lot of acidity in canned tomato products, so you want to balance it off with a little bit of sugar. A little bit of less, a little more. You got to taste it. You know, my great grandma's recipes on those pieces of paper that you feel like if you touch them, they're gonna break down on you. She has, you could do 7 fresh basil leaves, or like she used to do, she used to have these little bottles, and she would call them squirts. So she'd do 1 squirt. That's it. Those are her types of measurements. So she would take about 6 squirts of dried basil and oregano as well. Add a little bit more if you like basil, a little bit less if you don't like oregano so much. You could work with a little bit. You know, you want to let that simmer on your stove for, about 8 hours, 8 at least, at a minimum. It's going to take a while to develop that flavor, and that's where well, it's going to take that piece of bread and dip it in and taste it. That's where you're really going to feel the flavor. So while that's going, let's start on the meatballs. We'll come back to that sauce later. Every, mom has their kids help out in the kitchen. That was my thing that I did. I would go in there. I'd say, Mom, can I help out anywhere? She said, yeah, and I'd be rolling meatballs and all that. You know, every family has their own different recipe, a little more Parmesan, but everyone is around the same. It has, like my family, we use 80-20 beef, Parmesan, eggs, breadcrumbs, garlic, parsley, salt, pepper. Basic, really, really basic. You could use ground pork, you could use ground veal, you can do anything you want. Whatever you like, you can do. So we do 80-20 beef, very basic. You want to take all that, besides the breadcrumbs, you want to mix that together. Add your breadcrumbs because it will be wet, so you can adjust with the breadcrumbs. Say you add a little too much breadcrumbs, that's all right. You can add a little bit of water. Try to absorb that breadcrumb so you can thin it out a little bit. You want to make sure it's going to hold in the balls, because if you throw it into a pan or throw it in the oven, it'll break down. Throw it in the sauce, and that's not what you want. My great grandma used to just taste the raw meat. I don't recommend it, but still, for some reason, she was able to tell that she was making a good meatball by tasting it like that. You want to do about a little bit bigger than a golf ball size. I personally like the old school way, frying them a little bit of oil. My mom likes a little bit healthier, throws them in the oven on a baking rack, which isn't wrong. You still really get good flavor. But either way, you're gonna end up with a good product at the end, with a good meatball to begin with. And then after that, they're gonna be, nice colored on the outside, still gonna be raw on the inside. So you're gonna throw them in that sauce. Really build that flavor up. A little bit of the oil, why not? It's all flavor right there. This is a very simplistic approach to gravy and meatballs, but when you have simplicity, you really want to nail it. And with this recipe, there's no doubt in my mind that you will. I've seen myself included watching my grandma and my mom and all them make it, and it's very, very fun watching them. It's really cool being in the kitchen at that point. And in all Italian, you never know. There's never too much garlic in Italian cooking. Thank you.